Welcome to Backer Pause, where creators bravely put up their projects to be judged by others to see if their title, their description, their image, and their video can get through the experience of Backer Pause. What is Backer Pause? Backer Pause is when you suddenly find a reason that you might not pause or you've lost interest in a project. So join us as these campaigns are put through the ringer of the Backer Pause jury and judges. Tune in and tell us if you experience Backer Pause in the comments. Brought to you by comicbookadvocates.com, where the love of comics comes first, and hosted by Mr. Anderson, the comics writer who creates stories that travel the realms of fetish monsters and more, and the more is ever expanding. And we have the creator in-house, but of course, first we got to bring up the warnings. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. Now, I got to actually interview this gentleman to my, even though I'm pointing the wrong way, should be that way, the gentleman to my right, and we were on Comic Book School's feed, and you should go back, watch that video. We covered a lot. But we're going to spend a little more time today. I welcome you to the program. Just tell a little background about yourself, a little bit of the origin story of who you are, how you got into comics.
My name's James Aquilone. I'm a writer and editor, and comics were my first love. That's where I began to read and love books. So it took me about 40 years to finally get a comic book of my own, and that's Kolchak, the 50th anniversary graphic novel, which is doing pretty well.
And you're not just alone on this project, right? You have a bigger team behind you.
Yeah. I mean, we have, I think we have something like 30 contributors to the project.
Which has got to be hard to corral that many people into one thing. So,
yeah.
You don't have a video for this, right?
No video.
All right. What were you going to say?
But I'm the only one running the campaign, so they're working on the book. So I'm the only person manning the ship when it comes to Kickstarter.
You know, I never asked you this on the other program, and I'm going to ask you now. Do you have a story in this? Are you just the producer, or are you interacting within it?
No, I got a story in there, and when breaking that story out, you'll see down there's a cover for we're doing a floppy, like a 40-page comic with 3 of the stories from the anthologies, and with mine. So mine's that one there with the Dan Brayton cover with the demon. Then down a little further.
This one.
Yeah, right there. That's Satanic Panic. So that's my story. Satanic Panic 88. So that's Kolchak in the 1988, and he's dealing with this small town and Satanic Panic. And so I had that cover. That was an unpublished cover from Moonstone. So when I saw that, I had already written the story, and I was like, "Oh, that's perfect." So I said, "Let's use that cover, and let's just break out a couple of the stories, and then we'll do a 40-page comic." And so we did that. Now, my story will be in the graphic novels too, as well.
Now, for those who've lived under a rock and don't really do streaming services and are like, "Whoa, who is this? This is new to me." Can you just give a little background on the character so they're up to speed with us?
Kolchak began in a TV movie called The Night Stalker in 1972. At the time, it was the highest-rated TV movie of all time. It starred Darren McGavin, which people probably know better from A Christmas Story. But that TV movie and then the sequel, The Night Strangler, were both written by Richard Matheson, the guy behind I Am Legend. So it became really popular through the 2 TV movies, and then there was a TV series, which then they called Kolchak the Night Stalker, and that lasted about 20 episodes. And Kolchak is a reporter who, anytime he takes a story, he somehow stumbles upon some monster, and he ends up, slaying the monster at the end. And it became like a cult hit, and probably like for the last I think 15 years, Moonstone has been publishing Kolchak novels and novellas and comic books. They haven't done a comic book in a while, so like this is the first Kolchak comic in a few years. But the 50th anniversary came up this January on the first Night Stalker TV movie. So that was like really like like the hook to get us in for the Kickstarter.
Now, I have the question, why wouldn't you actually make a video for this? Because this show actually started out of videos, but I'm
Right.
sure you had a reasoning behind it.
That was more like budget and like had no time and I didn't have anybody to do the video. And I felt like I didn't need the video. I don't think the video is as important as it used to be. Before they said you have to have a video to successfully fund. I did this really awesome video for my last Kickstarter. It got a lot of hits, but I don't think it was doing anything. I uploaded it like to Facebook. I thought like it would do really well, and I if you just put up an image, I think that does so much better on social media than a video. I think people's attention spans are terrible now, and I don't even think they can get through like a 30-second video. So I said, you know what? Let me do this without the video. I don't think it's as important, and it didn't affect us.
No, it certainly did not. If you guys aren't aware, this thing's on a roller coaster to $100,000 campaign. Numbers that you only see with celebrity creators, 1351. An amazing triumph on Kickstarter. You got a project we love, which is amazing. So one other question I have for you, we didn't get to talk about this in comic book school, is were you a fan growing up? Like, or did you find this later in life? Because that's an interesting question.
No, I was definitely a fan of it. I wasn't old enough to see it when it first ran, but it started playing in reruns in the late 70s. And I think like in the 80s, they was still playing like as the late night TV movie. And then when X-Files came out, Chris Carter, who created the X-Files, was very vocal about Kolchak being like the prime influence for the X-Files. So then there was like a little bit of a resurgence of Kolchak interest in the 90s, and then Kolchak was played on like the Sci-Fi Channel for a while. So it keeps coming back up because it was a pretty influential show. He was like really the first of like those monster hunters on TV, like before Buffy and Supernatural. It was Kolchak. So a lot of people go back to that, and it's just one of those shows that like every probably like every 10 or 20 years people rediscover it and say, oh, remember Kolchak? And so there actually have been like younger people too who have been backing it and like discovering it. I think this they find it on YouTube because the TV movies are up there on YouTube for free.
I find it amazing. Well, first off, I have to ask: when you were a kid, when you were watching it, did you not realize it was a rerun? I can't tell you how many programs I thought were live. Like I thought Adam West was happening in the 80s.
Oh yeah, I had no clue. When I was a kid watching like Happy Days, it was really confused me because I was watching it when Happy Days was in reruns, but it was also they were still doing original episodes. And then this is like maybe late 70s, early 80s. But then the show took place in like the 50s. So I was so confused about what was going on with Happy Days, like what? And then if you saw the early episodes, it seemed like it was more like the 50s, and then it was kind of the 60s. So I had like no clue what was going on. Like when was this, supposed to take place? And then I'm watching it in the afternoon. Then it's on at night. Like Happy Days was on all day long, and I probably wasn't aware that anything was a rerun until I was starting well into my teens.
And we were, well, I say we because I'm sure we're both around the same age. We're not going to talk about the age, but we were the first generation, I believe, to really have reruns. There wasn't really reruns before our generation. Even The Honeymooners was brand new on television. And I remember them talking about it was brand new and it was black and white. And I'm like, what you talking about, Willis? This does not look new. It's black and white.
Well, then you sound old because really, I mean, when we were kids, TV was only about 20 years old. It wasn't that much content. So back in the 50s and 60s, you wouldn't have had much, to rerun. But yeah, when we were kids, we were watching most of the shows that were my favorite shows was shows that ran in the 60s.
Yep.
You were watching, Bewitched and Gilligan's Island. Almost none of those shows, they were already off the air.
Yeah, I Love Lucy. You were like, why is I Love Lucy in black and white? Isn't it? And I grew up, There were black and white TVs in my house. That's all I'm going to say. No, it wasn't nostalgia or something cool. It was just literally
that I didn't know about either because I had it. I think probably into the early '90s, I had a 13-inch black and white TV, and I played all my video games on that black and white TV. So I was even playing. I think when I got a Sega Genesis in like the early '90s, I finally got a 13-inch color TV.
And these kids are like 13 inches. Why are you guys getting small screen? Like they
black
don't know.
Yes, I'm playing Atari and Nintendo and ColecoVision on a black and white TV. So yeah, it was really that's real old school.
You kids don't know the struggles we were under.
Like so we're games on black and white TV.
Of course, we're going to get back to this. We are going to continue the conversation today about this. But you saw the video beforehand. Are you ready to play? BACKER Pause. Ready to play, James?
Yes.
All right. So we are doing a new format, but before anything like that, and especially because I'm on Kickstarter Live, I find it's easier for someone to kind of learn to judge a campaign using something of mine. And even if for a new judge, I bring up older campaigns of mine so they could talk about it. So now the way that this is going to work is you're going to be able to pick from all the different things today. We're going to have a pitch, which is basically the sentence underneath the title. We're going to choose from titles. And then at the very end, you'll be able to use the graphic to choose what you want to watch. So the first thing I would say is make 100. Break out your crayons for this Cat Dad cover. Would that make you stop in your tracks and be interested? Would that draw some hey, what's that energy?
I think I would be a little confused about what it is. So it's a coloring book?
Sort of, because it's just it's an actual cover. It's part of. I don't know if you know this, but every January Kickstarter does something special called to make 100.
Yeah,
where you make something special just for Kickstarter. So this year, for our second book for Cat Dad, we made a cover, which is, sometimes confusing people a little bit, can get them to check further. And of course, we're looking at it one part at a time, not as a package. So sometimes that is a little more confusing.
That is one of the things that bothers me about a lot of Kickstarter campaigns. Is like, I don't know what the hell it is sometimes. And then I'm looking around. What is it? Is it a comp? A lot of people are confused about whether, is it a comic book? Is it a prose thing? And, or even sometimes it's like an anthology and you don't know what the hell the theme is. So I think that's the first thing. It's is usually like if it's clear.
Yeah, no, and that's good. We were talking about this with Brian the other day. Sometimes the images on your previews disappear. So then to your point, it gets more confusing. Not just that, but depending on where you are, even on where Twitter will sometimes cut off the second sentence. So now you'll just have the picture with the first sentence. All three things go together for a reason. When you don't have all three, you got to look at each one standing alone on its own. So then the pitch for the book, would be my elevator pitch, is Team Cat Dad is back. And this time they tackle what it means to be a hero as we introduce Admiral Hero and discover his important origin. Now to your point about comics, I do want to say that there is that comics thing right underneath the image. And that does actually show, I think in Twitter, let me check. I think the Twitter feed actually shows that.
Does it?
You actually do it. Give me 1 second. I'll look it up. But what does that pitch do for you while I'm looking this up?
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like that you have a little bit of a synopsis in the subhead, so then you do know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, and I'm still looking. The image, we can talk about that while I see if I can drag one of these up. For some reason, Twitter wasn't loading. So what do you think of the image used for this currently?
Well, I like the image. It's pretty good.
And this is the book that we've used to teach morals with farts. That's actually one of the campaign things that we've actually gotten to use. But let me see. Does it say it? Here we go. I'm pulling up one of our projects right now that we have. And come on. Let me see it. Let me see it. Actually, no, it doesn't anymore. It used to a while ago, but I know they changed it. That's why I said, let me look it up. They used to have a bottom part.
It's different in different social media. And then you try to put it on Instagram, and then you have the square, and then it comes up. So
in Instagram, you can't use a link. You can't have links in the things you put.
I don't like Instagram. I don't think I get anywhere either with Instagram.
No, Twitter, I honestly can say that I get places with Twitter, but I try to get in and out as quick as I can with Twitter and leave it at that.
I think Twitter's better for comics because I'm doing prose before, and I never got anywhere with prose. And then when I was doing this, this project's comics, I think there's a much stronger like comic book culture on Twitter.
Yeah,
they all seem to be much more supportive, and if you put something up, people will share it. And I don't. It didn't seem like that so much with the prose, because my last campaign was a prose anthology. We didn't get anything from Twitter, so I just didn't even bother with it too much. Like, I no attention.
I do know this about Facebook. Facebook is like, and I always say it this way, Facebook is sort of like an ocean. If you don't have a map, you don't know where to go. While Twitter, because of the hashtag and the way it's generated, kind of makes things flow your way. Facebook used to do that, but when they changed their algorithm to sort of spike creators, they stopped that ability from happening. So now you have to literally, that's why everyone complains that Facebook made all these groups. In Twitter, sure, there's still groups, there's little pockets, but you can still see waves of things. If you follow someone, you'll see, I get tweets all the time from just popular ones that my friends have commented on. You don't see that on Facebook at all anymore. So
yeah, that's very true. I mean, about 5 or 6 years ago, the algorithm was very different, and that's when I did my first Kickstarter, and I didn't have any audience, but things could go viral very easily. And I'm the admin on the Weird Tales Facebook page, and they have like 1.5 million followers. And back then, that meant something. In like 2016, I would put up any image, and we would get 1 million views at least every other post. Now it's at 1.5 million still. I'm lucky if I get 10,000, maybe 50,000 views on a post. It's just dead now. It's just absolutely dead. And so even Facebook pages with 1 million followers, it could really not be worth anything.
And they're always changing, like what their push is, what's this week's or this year's theme. We've seen it go from live videos. I've heard that people say that live videos on Facebook, like I'll tell you right now, there's 2 people watching me when I look on my Facebook account. Just on Facebook, we went randomly live in the middle of the day on Saturday. If you look up at the counter in our studio, it says 0. So there's always something happening. We're on Twitter. All these things play games. So this is why it's so important, again, to have all these 3 things together. So if you saw all these 3 things together, would this be enough for you to scroll down the page and let me see what's going on?
Yeah, because I do think you said, like in the title, that would lead me like, I would investigate a little further.
Yeah. So, and that's the point. Now, if you ever feel it during today's show that one of these things is off, we can talk about it. But because you're picking based on the best, we won't get to that conversation until the very end. And then we watch the video at one last part. So you ready to see the video?
Sure.
Now, if you experience backer pause and you're like, this isn't for me, just raise your hand. We'll pull you back into the main room and we'll talk about what drew you out of being interested or distracted you and brought you out of the moment. And you experience backer pause. So here we go. Cat Dad away. In the beginning, there were farts that hopefully taught some moral lessons about bullying. And now Team Cat Dad is back. And this time, we're trying to figure out what makes a hero. A story that examines popularity versus heroics while teaching children how real people can inspire heroic tales. The entire creative team is back for this powerful second tale of heroics, and we do have the usual rewards and such. Truly amazing covers, including a limited edition coloring book cover for the first time. But if you're a fan of Cat Dad and Supermom, you know it's about more than rewards. It's about the creator's autistic son Jax and his love for him and the stories he hopes inspires and guides him and hopefully the readers of these tales. It is about the human moments and the ability to entertain and bring the entire family together that matters to us. And a reminder of the power of imagination. I want to thank you for watching this video and hope you take a moment to look over the campaign for Cat Dad and Supermom, What Makes a Hero. And remember, we rise together through kindness. Please go to catdadandsupermom.com for more information about this campaign. The end is just talking about the website. So
I think that was good. It was a good length. And, some of them go on a little too long. And I think you don't want to go on more than like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yeah, I agree.
And the art's good. And I don't want to see the. I mean, maybe I'm weird like that, but I don't really care about seeing the creator, and I don't want to see them sitting on a couch with the phone up to their face and just rattling on about it. I want to see like the art. I want to see the project. So I like that.
I completely agree. And one of the things I like to do during my campaign, believe it or not, is to change things up. I constantly change the titles. I change everything. Even if the campaign is successful at the moment, I will change everything about it because you get that social media fatigue. Unless you have a hit, like you have a hit, like this is something that will draw people in because I saw it and I was like, what? I get to interview this guy? I love this. This is my
I
childhood.
overhauled that whole page though in like the middle of the campaign.
Oh, did you? So you get what I'm saying? Like you make changes to keep it fresh and keep it moving, right?
I didn't like it. I kind of rushed it, I think, in the beginning. And one of the problems with Kickstarter is that you just have this big long page, and I think like you're saying about having that fatigue. I don't know if many people get to the bottom of your page because I know I had I put the add-ons in the bottom of the page, and a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't know you had T-shirts and stuff. So people don't get down there. I wish Kickstarter would maybe structure their page a little better. Maybe you can collapse sections or something.
Oh, that'd be so good.
It's way too long, and so so as I went through the campaign, I took stuff out. Stuff that sold out, I took out. I try to streamline some things and just try to make the page shorter. I think you can kind of overdo it, if you have like a lot of rewards and add-ons, and then the page just gets bigger and bigger, and people just give up.
All they'd have to do is put rewards in between, like updates and comments, just at that top part right there, and we could have an entire reward section. Images in the reward section. I mean, like right here.
I don't know why they have it. They do have a reward section. If you add to the back to your URL /rewards, you will suggest the reward. But you can't unless and I didn't find that out until like kind of recently. It was like someone had linked to their rewards. I would love that you can click on a picture of one of the rewards, and then you go to the pledge.
Description.
Why can't you do that? Wouldn't that make sense?
Oh, that I've suggested that in an email actually, because they'll give the surveys. I don't know if you've ever had one of those, but they have creator surveys. And I first off, small images for all the rewards. Second off, a reward section. Third, you should even have a previously done section where it actually shows I've done all these projects where people can look at it. And because there is sometimes confidence when they see it. Because not everyone knows to go over here to the profile and look up the creator and let's see what else this person's done.
Yeah, like when you go to the add-ons, you don't there are no pictures of the add-on, so you might not have scrolled down to the bottom of the page to see everything. So when you go and you pledge, and then you have this list of add-ons, you don't know what it looks like. So if there is a T-shirt, it would be really great just to have like a little thumbnail next to the add-on. But I don't think that's something that would be very difficult to do.
And I'm sure you
a lot.
And I'm sure you've dealt with the alternate cover. Which one's which one? Like if it had just a picture of the alt cover, you'd never have to re-explain yourself because you know it as the creator which one's there. But by the time someone's done scrolling, they've seen 6 covers. They just know the one they want. I want the one with the guy who's standing behind that looks like a demon. That that's the description.
Yeah, that would. I don't know. I think. I feel like Kickstarter does a lot of things like that, so you have to use backer kit. Because I don't understand why Kickstarter can't build all those features into Kickstarter itself. Which I was really happy that they did finally add the add-ons because that makes a huge difference. And I think you saw a lot of campaigns making a lot more money once they did that. Because a lot of people would wait and they say, "Oh, I'll do it through backer kit," but then you're leaving all that money that you're not going to see in the initial goal.
Yeah, absolutely. But the funny thing about it is the backer kit, as far as I know, as of right now, is not actually owned by Kickstarter. So they almost are making a market for another company, which is insane.
I think that they have to be, but
right?
They're not. But yeah, so like, why wouldn't they just blow backer kit out of the water and add these features in? And they would probably upcharge you or something, like we'll take another %. Even if they took the 2% that backer kit takes anyway, I think people would rather do it internally with Kickstarter and not deal with another, like a third party.
They're missing out so much. Like that's a business they should have opened by now and done better. Oh man, yeah. But back to your projects, I did want to mention this: that you had Dead Jack, you had the classic Monsters Unleashed. So what is next for you? We didn't even get to talk about that. So this is going to be a thing. Like, these are your books now. They're going to be in your library. Where do you go now from this?
Well, Monsters Unleashed became a series, and so we're having an Unleashed series of prose anthologies, and we already have the next one's going to come out in. I think we're going to do a Kickstarter in June or July, and that's Shakespeare Unleashed. So it's going to be horror stories based on Shakespearean characters and plays. So we already have like most of the lineup set up for that. So I'm going to be jumping right back into it in a couple of weeks. So that's going to be fun.
Now,
we'll probably do much Kolchak stuff too.
Oh, that's awesome. I look forward to that. Let me ask you before we get into the first, we start reading off the things I do want to ask this about it. We're going to go back to Kolchak for this. Did anyone from the estate ever reach out to you at this point? Like, is anyone from the actor, I mean, did anyone from the actor's family or any of that get in touch by chance?
No, I mean, we have the rights from Jeff Rice's estate, and Jeff Rice is the guy.
Oh, I meant in a positive way, in a legacy way.
No, I haven't heard from anybody like Darren McGavin's. I think he has a son.
Yeah.
No, but Richard Matheson's son is a contributor.
Oh.
And then we have the two creators. Jeff Rice, he wrote the Kolchak novel, and then he had actually sent it to Richard Matheson's agent, and then Richard Matheson's agent then sold it to ABC for the TV movie. So Jeff Rice, his estate now, they have the literary rights to Kolchak, and then Richard Matheson wrote it, but he didn't create necessarily. I mean, he changed some things. So we do have we are involved with Jeff Rice's son and Richard Matheson's son.
Well, this is awesome. I really appreciate what you're doing. And for those who didn't watch the comic book school thing, go back and we actually talked about how you got the rights, and that's an amazing story in itself. But you gotta go back to the comic book school to hear that. All right, so you're ready to pick a project just based on its title.
Okay.
So here, this is just the titles that they put out. And again, like you said, sometimes these can be confusing, right? So here we go. First one, just the one that out of all these that really sticks in your head, we're going to watch the video and look at the image and talk about the entire campaign. So here we go. We have the lunatic, the lover, and the poet. We have Black Rabbit, a bunny in wolf's clothing. Freaks and Gods, Volume 2, Number 1. Of course, your project, which we have up on the board right now. And yours ends on February 11th, if I'm not mistaken?
The 10th. Well, it's midnight, so
okay.
It's not as counting as the next day, but
gotcha.
Thursday night.
Let me just quickly, since I'm in my page, I can actually make it the 10th so people know not to wait an extra day. We have Critter action figure based on the Big Ink comic. Actually, so it's an action figure for a comic. We have Hades, Rise of the Dark God, Book of Alexia, story, 40 pages. Sunrise Blossom, Volume 1 and 2. Brink and Fetch, Want to Have Fun. Demon Samurai, Number 1. Welcome back, Kid Chaos. You've heard Cat Dad, so we'll skip over that one. The Aliens West. Primal, the Jungle Warrior.
I mean, Black Bunny, I know.
Okay. We have two more. We have two more. Crimea, the Islands of Dreams. Massaval, which is just that. And brand new to the show, we have Shimmering Basin. So out of all those, which one jumped at you?
Well, two. I mean, like Black Bunny, but I do know that campaign because I just shouted them out.
Yeah, but believe it or not, we haven't watched the video for that on this show yet.
Video? I didn't see the video. But Demon Samurai is also a very cool title. I would check that out.
Well, why don't we do both of them then?
Black Bunny is a little, it's an erotic one with CBZ.
Oh, CB's a boy of mine. We worked on a story together a few years ago in honor of, his Into the Suck brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I backed this. I'm not sure.
I'm a friend. I was a friend with Keith Thomas, and that's how I actually met CB Zane. That he connected me to him, and I was promoting it, and of course, tragically, Keith Thomas died. So me and him, CB, got together to do like an homage story to him and his character. So, But here's Black Rabbit. We have not played this video since it's been on. 837 backers, $45,000. And I love the erotic adventures of Black Rabbit, an adults only comic book. It's great pitching right there. Like everything about this is a yes. The only thing I don't like is the fully funded thing.
Yeah, I think that's unnecessary.
I always feel like when you put that up, people are like, "Oh, you don't need my help then," because it is crowdfunding, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you can see that anyway. I don't think anyone really cares about that anyway.
I don't think anyone sees that fully funded letter, to be honest with you. They're looking somewhere else.
Or like when it's like when it's a project we love and they put that up. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, I mean you see it right there. Exactly. I agree with you. But here we go. Here's the first time on the show. Let's check out Black Rabbit. And again, you raise your hand if you've hit pause, field backer pause. And it didn't need anything more. I'm sold.
Yeah, that's all you needed. That's smart because he was like, I don't need to do anything else.
What's the joke? Take my money. Take my money.
Yeah, that's a good video. See.
Yep. See that's the winner of the day now.
we picked. Yeah, I mean the art's great. I love the colors too, the black and the purple, and it looks cool. Yeah. So if I didn't back, I'm gonna check and I'll probably back this. Yeah, I mean, for some reason, I don't know if it's January, but it seems like most of the comics on Kickstarter right now are these adults only or erotic comics and graphic novels.
Not mine. Although I do have an adult tale. And normally we do crowdfund this time of the year. I don't know what it is, but like it's Valentine's Day. I think it's just in your thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I feel like I was all surrounded with like other like like these X-rated comic books. Yeah, because Dynamite just had one too called Karma, and we shouted that one out too. So yeah, there's been a bunch of them.
There's about 6 other ones I can name just off the top of my head. Because usually this time of year I've gone with Barbara Unleashed. My tale about the Fetish Underground in New York City and education with that. And we were going to relaunch it through Continuum at this point in the year. We decided to hold up because Cat Dad got delayed last year. And now I'm kind of kicking myself for letting Cat Dad go so early because, like you said, the competition is so different right now. We're almost jarring. At the moment.
I didn't think so. Did they do better around Valentine's?
The adult ones, yes.
Yeah.
Barbara always strongest around. I put it up during the 2020 year, and without promoting it, because I get in trouble for promoting it, because even though it's educational, people report the hell out of it. The minute you mention the word bondage or BDSM, people lose their mind and they report things. So we actually made like $1,000 without trying and without being able to promote it, just being on Kickstarter. And I was looking for $200 to print something. that was the goal, $200. I was like, oh, that's nice. Okay. But here we go. This is our Samurai Tale. As you see, there's no video for this one, so we're not even going to play the video. But we're going to look at the page. We're going to take a deeper look into it to help them out. Demon Samurai, it's a story that spans from past to the future. That's a good pitch, isn't it?
Yeah. And then, like I said, that's a great title. So, I mean, you'll just get people that were interested in it from that. But now, the cover looked, I mean, the image isn't that great. It looks a little cheesy.
But wait, just wait until you see this. Why isn't that the image for the campaign?
Yeah, that I don't understand, because from that image, I would think that the art probably wasn't very good. But then they have this amazing cover.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, right? It's just bad lettering. Look at that.
They changed the image though, because then they put the funded in this, and maybe like they changed it. But they got
those are them. It's just not high quality. They put low res in here because the person doing it scrunched it down so it looks weird, right?
Yeah. I mean, go at one image. I wouldn't put like several images into the main image.
No, and they have such beautiful art.
They got great covers, and that's all you need.
Yeah. And again, here it is. Here we go. Right back to it.
Maybe they wanted to hide that. Yeah, so you they didn't get reported either. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, that's a great art. Yeah, see, that's a problem. I think some people might just look at that Kickstarter image and move on.
Yeah, and this is the whole point of us looking at everything this year on Backer Pause is that when you go beyond just looking at it, look what people could miss. Like you said, someone might look at this, oh, they don't know what they're doing. This is cheaply done. This doesn't look right.
Yeah,
This looks faded. And then all of a sudden you go and you're like, oh my God, this is one of the most beautiful comics.
Yeah, because if you're just finding that like somewhere on Kickstarter, like in like the graphic novel section, that's all you see is that image. That's it. So you got to get someone to click on that image, and I probably wouldn't click on it if I just saw that image there at all. No, but they got great art.
All right, so we're going to go back to your campaign for just a little bit and talk a little bit more about it for a few minutes. I want to talk about the team. So we didn't really talk about this as much as I would have loved to on Comic Book School. So I'm so glad we get to do the follow-up. Tell us how the breakdown of not just the teams, but the storytelling is going on this.
What we're doing is like telling like Kolchak's story, like decade from decade. So at least one story from the 1930s until like the early 2000s. Because Kolchak is the same age as Darren McGavin. So in his official bio, Kolchak was born in 1922. So the idea was to tell a story throughout his life and show his full life from being a kid up until his possible death in the early 2000s. So I thought it'd be cool like to have at least one story per decade, and that's how it worked out. And then the 70s, which when the shows took place, we have at least three, but we added Steve Niles. And we added Gabriel Hardman, and I think they'll probably be doing stories in the 70s too. So we might end up with 5 stories in the 70s, which is good because that's probably where most people are interested in anyway. Yeah, and I didn't want like maybe like 2 stories like in the 30s because that would kind of like I think throw things off. So 1 story per decade, a bunch in the 70s, and then I think we have everything covered, and then we'll see him age. The first story will take place when he's like 17, and David Avallone wrote that, and we just got the artwork or like the roughs from Julius Otha, and it looks amazing. So that's the first time we're ever going to see Kolchak as a kid, and the art's amazing. So that's going to be a really fun story. It's set in Coney Island in Brooklyn in 1939. So that's a really fun story, and that'll kick off the book.
Now, did you go back to the actors like? Images did you try to find from younger, or did you just tell the artist take a shot?
No, we found a bunch of pictures of Darren McGavin as a teenager. Mm-hmm. So they were cool. So yeah, we used that. Yeah, I mean, since it's a show and we have all the the images of Darren McGavin, we use that. Especially because it's illustrated, we can do that. And with my story, I would say like make this guy look like Machine Gun Kelly or whatever. So I would try to cast like as if it was an episode, and then I would send that to my artist Colton Worley, and then because he's really good at likenesses, so he has like that type of realistic style. So then all the characters and it's more quicker than to try to describe what they look like. So they said, okay, this character I'm going to cast him. I'm going to say that if we did a TV show, that would probably be played by, let's say, Machine Gun Kelly, and then I give Colton the pictures, and so it's quicker, and I like that idea too. It's like because maybe if you read the story, then you can say, oh, I know that person. Or we don't try to make them exact, but we try to play around with it.
Yeah, and just a quick, you don't have to answer this one, just could go into spoiler territory. But does the 2001 possibly maybe frame the end of the character's line, or is it just the story?
We didn't write it yet, but yeah, it would probably be something centering around the possible death. But it's a comic book too, so we can always
bring
him back. I figured if he was born in 22, he'd be 100 years old. I mean, Darren McGavin would have turned 100 years old in this May.
Yeah.
So he's the same.
Did he know Betty White? I don't know why he would, but maybe he.
They were born the same year, so they both would have turned 100 this year. So yeah, so if you're born in 22, you're gonna have to die eventually. But then I was even toying with the idea of like him being turned into a vampire at the end, and, and then he lives on. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, he'll live on forever, and this is really a one-off. So this is really outside of like the timeline in the main Moonstone books. So if we do anything else, it'll be I don't know. We might bring him back just to the 70s. I would love to just do a like Kolchak 75 book, and all the stories are in 75.
That'd be cool.
So
All right.
yeah, we'll have to see.
So here we go. Now it's time. We'll leave that image up for a minute. Now it's time to pick your next one, just based on the pitch. Now we have fewer because we've seen more. So here we go. I'm going to do the ones we haven't mentioned today that are still up on the board. The second issue in the horror slasher comic book series where CW meets Nancy Drew and Scream. We have, well, we saw that, so that's off. The newest issue of Freaks and Gods, a modern love letter to Silver Age comics featuring public domain characters. Critter comes to life in this full posable action figure based on Big Dog Inc. comic book series. Before Kronos, before Deimos, there was Hades. There are shocking times that kick the events of books of Alaxia into motion. A GL Monster Girl series. Story of two girls making their way into a chaotic world. They are having fun, enjoying life, and making up the rules. Supernatural horror. Horror is big, too, around Valentine's Day, too. As you see. A story. Oh, well, we saw that. So, Kid Chaos, too, from Super Earth Comics. And we have, let's see, we got Discover West. Nothing more there. Comic book. Nothing more there. 4 kids on an island with their greatest dreams come true, but they risk everything to go home. And welcome to the wonderful world of Molasses with the first issue of the 25-page comic. And the much-anticipated Echoes of Triumph #2 finally here, which, if you don't know Triumph at #1, you're not going to know what we're talking about. So which one drew you in?
I think the first one was with Nancy Drew. Or
the Nancy Drew one? Brian Hawkins' campaign? Actually, that ends today. So what tomorrow at 9 a.m., but today's really the last day, So what fortuitous timing. Let's take a look at that. So we're going to bring that up. We just had him on the show the other day, as a matter of fact. Great creator. Have you ever heard of this, the comic book Black Cotton?
Yes. Yeah.
He is the creator behind that. One of the creators behind Black Cotton. It's over at Scout Comics. So here we go. This is his. There goes the image. Now we've seen the whole package together. Would that draw you in seeing that on the Discovery page?
Yeah, that's really good art.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at this this video that he put together, and same rules as before. You see any reason to raise your hands, by all means, please do. But let's get on with the video. What'd you think?
I think it was pretty good. It was a good length, and the art is good. And that's what I want to see. I just want to see the art. And the music was pretty good.
Yeah, and just some imagery for you guys. Let's see where he's at right now. So he is so close to the goal, just $407 away. 193 backers. If you're watching this now and you have to leave the program to go back, we fully understand. We'll be here when you get back. Definitely check it out. Brian's a great creator. I've known him for over a decade now. It's weird when you're getting older, you realize how much time has passed while you weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
So, all right. So for the first time ever, you're going to actually see the entire board And we're just going to go over some quick things. Make sure to get your panel 1 comic book for comic book school. And if you want to continue your education for comics, go to comicbookschool.com, join the forums, and become more educated on the industry and the techniques behind comics. There's a new crowdfunding site called Soup. If you didn't know, now you do. Supply chain issues are actually getting worse now. It's harder and harder for people to find paper. So please be patient with creators and understand that they're going to have to go out of pocket now because they didn't expect these higher costs. 20 to 30%, it's higher now than when a lot of these campaigns first launched. Of course, we saw Brian Hawkins' project just now. We saw Black Rabbit, which definitely took our breath away. Here's the Freaks and Gods. Now, pay attention. I want you to pick just on the image now, because now you've heard everything and now it's down to the image. So this is Freaks and Gods. This is your amazing project. I don't know what that's doing. Oh, it's the basin one. Why isn't that showing? So we have a Twitter snafu. Let me fix that just to show you the image, because we want to make sure we give everyone the fair opportunity to get here. Actually, it's on Twitter. So let me go. Here it is. So that's the image for this. Oh, you're not seeing it, are you? Hold on. Let me get it for you so you can see it, because I want you to see this. So this is new to the program. Actually, it's the first time on today. So let me just show it to you. That's why the image didn't show, because there was a code issue. So this is it. This is from Brendan. That's just the image. This was the Shimmering. Oh, we didn't even read this thing. So I'll read the whole thing to you really quickly. Shimmering Basin 2, Shimmering Basin 2 returns to readers to Shijima and her gang of young adventurers as they take on new threats and new allies. So I'll fix that coding after the program, but it will be part of this. So here's the critter we were talking about the action figure for. This was the Hades, the Sun Blossom. This is Brink and Fetch. Want to have fun. We saw the demon. This is the Kid Chaos. Cat Dead. We have the second video, which we'll watch on the way out today, because you'll just see how I changed them up, and you'll get to weigh in on that. Discovery West. This is Primal number 7, which comes to us from Steph Wilson, an artist promoting their book. I love when I see that. When the artists are doing it, it's not the creator, because they're promoting the cover. That's amazing. This is Chris Allen's Island of Crimea. This is Mosselwolf, which doesn't have a video, so it wouldn't matter at this point anyway, because there's no video to play. Oh, here it is. It's in the right place. It was just out of place. I guess we did at one point mention it. And then this is the Echoes of Triumph. Which image really jumped out at you and you were like, I got to see that one?
They're all pretty good. I think it was Steph Wilson's. I think I like.
Ooh. And of course, I don't think we have a video for that one.
Oh, that's a good one too. That's the one I said. Yes, I like that.
Yeah, no video for this one, but we'll take a look. So here we go. This is it. This is the winner.
That's a good cover.
Some great cover artists here. Steph Wilson, yeah. Mike is part of it. Carlos is there. Oh man, this just looks good. And again, to our point earlier in the show, it's January, February. Look what you know, like they even have that foil. What are they? It's just a foil cover, a hollow foil. There we go. Yeah. They have a nude variant because it's January, February. Merry Christmas. Okay, let's get on with the nude girls. All right, we got. This has been around a while too. We're not acknowledging this is an issue number 7, not generally seen in the independent creator field. You don't generally see the number 7s of something. So, and most people are just going to back this based on the fact of the covers.
Yeah, there's a lot of campaigns where it's just really about the covers.
Yeah, but it looks like it has a real story behind it, and we suggest everyone go check out what Eric Nelson has been creating, man. It looks like he's got a winner on his hand, because when we go back up to the top, after looking at what's heavily based as a cover thing, he's made 10 grand, 191 backers.
Yeah, he got 22 days to go.
So 22 days to go, so I'm sure there'll be more. All right, one last look at your project before we go, and then I'm going to show you the updated video, and you'll tell me which video you liked better. So we'll actually have some competition for my own thing. And this recently has been happening. I don't know if you've seen this.
I kept running into that. I don't know. You have to refresh the page. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's weird, right? It's just weird. All right, so
I have a really cool the video for Classic Monsters Unleashed is amazing. You want to check that out?
Yeah, why not? Let's go give it a look.
A little longer, but it's got a lot of production value. So the guy who did it, Jeremiah Lambert, was amazing. But then I asked him to do a video for Kolchak, and he was like, "No, I'm not interested." So that's why I ended up.
Oh, I'm
Really
in the wrong one. Hold on. Sorry. Clicked the wrong one quickly. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to download it with your permission, and then we'll put it in the studio. And really quick, give them one last pitch on the Kolchak book. Tell them why they need to own that as I'm downloading this.
Oh, so we got like just ridiculous amount of talent on that book. Like I said, we got Steve Niles, we got Jonathan Maberry, we have Rodney Barnes, Kim Newman. I forget how many all the people, David Avallone, and the artwork I've gotten so far is just amazing. So I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're into Kolchak, even if you're not into Kolchak, I think this would be a good primer for you if you've never seen the show. But go see it. Go see the show on the NBC app has it for free. Well, you watch the TV movies for free on YouTube, and then I think if you watch one of the TV movies, you'll buy the book because it's such a cool series, and
Yeah.
we're very true. We're true to the original series in the book.
All right, so you ready to see your video?
Yeah, I love this video. I watch it all the time.
Let's go for it. Without pause, because he's the judge. This is from Classic Monsters, which will be coming out as a series sometime later this year on Kickstarter.
Right.
That reminds me of like a Brian Polito video right there. Right? Connected energy.
It's a little long, but we had so much stuff that I was like, and the music. I just love the music, so I was like, keep it going. But we had different versions of that. So we had like 5 different lengths of it. So we had like a 30-second one, we had like a 1-minute one, and we tried those out on I put them up on Facebook and see which ones work. But it still didn't. I thought it was a great video, but I don't think it helped us that much. I don't think a lot of people didn't watch the video.
Well, I'm going to let you choose which Cat Dad video you like better. You saw the first one at the very beginning of the show. Now you get to see my follow-up. Which one do you think better explains the campaign, would make you either consider backing it, or which one might have caused you backer pause? Because we don't know. Here you go. You get to be the judge. So that's my son, Jackson. He's an amazing kid, but he has autism. Early on, when the symptoms started to show themselves, one of the things I noticed about him, and this moment captured it perfectly and inspired me to write comic books about him and really want to write children's books, was the imagination that he had. This inspired everything behind Cat Dad and Supermom. All the stories I've written, all the stories I'm going to write, it all comes back to this moment when he was playing at a convention and he was just having fun, and he'd really tapped into it. He was very much in the moment. With autism, sometimes it's hard to bring a child out of that shell. And so I created a comic book hoping to reach him, because at this point he would just rip up comic books, and I wanted him to really experience the written word and all that it could bring. So I created a comic book about him, and I showed him the process. And sure enough, when that first comic book was printed, it changed him. It changed how he looked at books. And I'm always going to think that was a turning moment. Him coming out of his shell and him really enjoying not only the written word, but exploring his imagination. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video and encourage you to go to Cat Dad and Supermom and check out this campaign. What do you think of that?
I'll take back what I said last time. I like that one better. When I said I didn't want to see the creator, but I think you have a good story, and it's a strong emotional story. So I think there was that showed more of the connection that you had to the book. So yeah, I would take that one. But I do think it's good to have different ones and test them out, like do some A/B testing.
Oh yeah. And I want to thank you for being on the program today. Jax actually picked the music on the video, so I thank you for I'll pass on the feedback to the director I have in the background. The one thing I will say is that you always got to be reinventing yourself. I think that you've done a great job of showing how you can go and create just what you want to. You're an example of create what you're passionate about. So I really wanted to sit down with you. I'm so glad you made time to be with us on Backer Pause today. Before we go, because we're running out of time, where can they follow you?
You can go to jamesaquilone.com, and all my social media is there. And on Twitter and Facebook, I'm under James Aquilone. So
I look forward to having you back once the monsters are on, because I have a story about monsters where I turned them human and gave them genetic disorders. It explains away why the silver screen made a monster. So I'm big. I like classic monsters. Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's my introduction to it.
Yeah, I love Scooby-Doo growing up, so all that I'm into. Yep. This I was into as a kid. You take me on a stroll down memory lane that I want to go on. Thank you for that. And on our way out today, we are going to give some love to one last video, and that video is explaining to you guys that $1 can change a creator's life, and this video will explain it. The power of a single dollar. One single dollar can help make dreams come true. Every dollar is a declaration of support and belief. It helps the creators and the teams behind the book. Just $1 helps create new worlds and keeps creators creating. All right, I thank everyone for tuning in today. I thank our guest. We'll see you next week on Backer Pause. And make sure to go give $1 to Kolchak or one of the other campaigns you've seen today on the show. Any last words? We got a few seconds.
No, thanks for having me. I like this. This was fun. I like evaluating.
Fun, right?
I'm always doing that anyway, because that's a good way, like check them out. I'm always checking out Kickstarter campaigns and evaluating them and seeing what they did. And then I just try to rip them off, basically, the ones that I look at and say, that's really cool.
That's comics, baby. We've been doing it since day one, taking each other's ideas and making the industry better.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of here. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week on Backer.